All right. So let's go. We have, so in this declaration, it's the defendants. For anybody who's looking for this, I could have sworn I linked it. Let me go double check, actually. Let me just go look real quick, actually. Go here, go here. Whoopsie. Let's see the description of this thing real quick. Make sure that I linked all this for you guys. Hang on, I gotta like mute this. We're gonna get mute. Let's see. What do I got here? Okay, so yes, I did link it for you guys in the description of this live. There's the link to the Roloff declaration. There's the link to the other doc that we're going to read here, which is the it's the one that has all of her text messages and stuff that just came out. Okay, and then we also have the link to the Gooch interview that I'm going to be showing today as well. Okay, so everything is linked in the description. So let's go take a little peeky poo at Roloff's declaration here. We're going to read 8, 9, and 10 of the declaration. Okay. It says, number 8 here, quote, I've been retained as a digital forensic examiner to assist Miss Ann Taylor and the defense team in the Idaho v. Koberger case. 9. I have reviewed the documents titled BM 1113 bubble format and BM 1113 bubble format, which contain data extracted from mobile devices used by individuals identified as DM and BM, respectively. Eccentric Skeptic, hello. Good to see you. You're another one I don't deserve you. Thank you so much for all your freaking support. Laying in the cut, always supporting. I truly appreciate you. Amy Mama, hello. Sorry, guys, I'm trying to read this and look at my chat at the same time. If you join chat and I miss you, I'm so sorry. Suzanne, hello. Halls, hello. Welcome in, everybody. Welcome in. I truly appreciate all of you. I really do. Thanks for being here. Okay. So let's see. Where did I leave off? Sorry. I have reviewed the documents titled DM and BM 1113 bubble format, which contain data extracted from mobile devices used by individuals identified as DM and BM, respectively. These documents reflect periods of activity on the mobile devices that would require user interaction with the device for them to occur, specifically for the date of November 13th, 2022. So what Mr. Roloff is saying here is everything he recovered, extracted from her phone. He is specifically talking about reflects the periods of activity on the mobile device that requires the user to have interaction with the device. Not this, I was asleep shit. That's what Roloff is saying. Roloff is saying, actually, not sleeping. You would need to be awake and interacting with the device for these things to occur that I've recovered. Number 10. The documents include artifacts and content demonstrating a variety of user interactions, including 1. Incoming and outgoing native text messages. 2. Incoming and outgoing Snapchat message artifacts indicated by the application identifier com.toyopagroup.peekaboo. So anytime you see the com.toyopagroup.peekaboo, that's Snapchat. 3. Voice and video calls conducted via Snapchat and the native phone dialer. Oh, boy. 4. Creation, modification, and deletion of multimedia files such as images and videos. All of this while you're sleeping, Dylan. Number 5. Application usage logs showing when specific apps were opened and closed. Literally, we know when you clicked on the icon of the app to open it. We know when you closed it out. Literally. Application usage logs showing when specific apps were opened and closed. So, like when I click on my Starbucks app on my phone to scan my card and for my points. Okay. They know every time I open it up and close it out if they want to. Time, date, how long the app was open for. Okay. Last one. Internet browsing artifacts and cookie data showing access to particular websites or internet-based services. I declare under penalty of perjury that the foregoing is true and correct to the best of my knowledge, skill, and belief. Josiah Roloff, and this was dated March 26, 2025. Okay. So the reason that I wanted to read that is just to refresh our memory. Refresh our memory of what the defense's expert recovered from her phone, all while she's allegedly sleeping. They know when she was logging in and closing out, opening and closing specific apps, how long she was in them for, what she did in them. It shows all of her internet browsing artifacts and cookie data, showing access to all of the websites and internet-based services that all of this while she's sleeping. Incoming and outgoing text messages, incoming and outgoing Snapchat messages, voice and video calls conducted via Snapchat, all while sleeping. So I just wanted to, let everybody keep that in their brain. I just wanted to refresh that. Okay. We don't need to read the whole thing. It's only 4 pages anyway. I just wanted to refresh everyone's memory. And this is between her and her father, DM and BM, respectively, for November 13th. This is for her father. I have received the documents titled DM 1113 bubble format and BM 1113 bubble format, which contain data extracted from mobile devices used by individuals identified as DM and BM, respectively. So this is Dylan Mortensen and Brett Mortensen, as far as I'm aware. This is Dylan Mortensen and her father's mobile devices. And the data extracted, this is what he recovered. Okay. So he is recovering incoming and outgoing text messages. I'm guessing this is all between her and her dad. This is everything they're talking about is between her and her dad. Her dad. Right? Makes more sense that her dad would be the one to give her that new contact that she added into her phone. To me, that makes more sense. Right? She is voice and video calling on Snapchat via the native phone dialer. Right? Voice and video calls conducted via Snapchat and the native phone dialer. So just wanted to keep that fresh in everyone's memory because now what we're gonna, I can't show it to you obviously because of the way I have to do this today. It is what it is. I'm on my phone, but I have everything up on the laptop here. It's linked in the description. When you start going and looking at the phone activity, right, for Dylan here, what's interesting is that she's adding this new contact at 3:51. This Brittany Fernandez or whoever it is. I'm of the opinion it's her father who gave her this number to call to add into her phone. That's just my personal opinion. I think she got it from her dad. I think that's why Roloff specifically is talking about the information, artifacts, and everything he recovered from their phones, her and her father. Right? That just makes sense to me. The other thing that I found very interesting is that when you actually get into these phone logs here, Bethany is the one who is calling Dylan first. right? At 4:19. And then at 4:20, Dylan is calling Xana. So Bethany calls Dylan first. Dylan calls Xana. Then Dylan calls Kaylee. 20 seconds later. 8 seconds later, she calls Bethany. They speak for 41 seconds. So when she calls Kaylee, it's 0 minutes. When she calls Xana, it's 0 minutes. That's a call and hang up. That's not even letting the phone ring, unless that's just how it registers when no one answers. I don't know. But it's very interesting to me that the call to Xana, 0 minutes. Bethany calls her. That phone call lasts for 23 seconds. I thought you were, do you get what I'm saying? So Bethany called her first, and that phone call lasted for 23 seconds. Right? Then she calls Xana, no seconds. She calls Kaylee, no seconds. Then she calls Bethany, and that phone call lasts for 41 seconds. Then she calls Maddie. So let's just, in that short little time span here, let's just keep this in mind, right? Let's visualize this. You're Dylan. It's 3:51 a.m. You wake up. You pop up, right? You wake up, and then I woke up, she says. Those are her words. And then I woke up. So at 3:51 a.m., she wakes up and she adds a new contact into her phone. Okay? At 3:51 a.m. and 3 seconds. Then at 4:19:07, Bethany's calling her. At 4:20, she calls Xana, 0 seconds. 4:20 and 20 seconds, she calls Kaylee. So 20 seconds go by from the time she calls Xana to the time she calls Kaylee. Then another 8 seconds go by from the time she calls Kaylee to the time she calls Bethany. Both of the calls to Xana and Kaylee, 0 seconds. The phone call to Bethany, 41 seconds. Wonder what they talked about for 41 seconds. Because as soon as she hangs up, she calls Maddie at 4:21 and 50 seconds. Oh, there's some time in between there, actually. She waits about a minute. Not even. Let me see here. 4:20 and 28 seconds. And she calls Maddie at 4:21:50. So, yeah, there's a little bit of time in between here from the time Bethany to Maddie. We've got a little bit of time in between here. The reason that I'm going through this like block by block here is because, picture it in your mind. You're Dylan. So you pop up out of bed, you enter a new contact, and then approximately 28, 27-ish minutes later, Bethany's calling you. And then you're calling Xana and Kaylee, but then you just hang up. Right? Then you just hang up. Like, oh, fuck, that's right. I can't call them. Oops. And you call Bethany. Or like, I don't get it. Like what she's doing here. Do you get what I'm saying? This is why I'm of the opinion. I've tried to be very, very like sensitive when I talk about Dylan or Bethany. I mean, I'm not too sensitive. Kane B, what up? James Moe and Beach Babe, hello. Hi, everyone. Sorry, I'm looking at my screen, but I'm also trying to look at my chat here on my phone. Welcome in. Thank you for being here. Appreciate everybody. What was I just saying? Shit, lost my train of thought. Oh, so you wake up, you pop up out of bed, you enter a new contact, and then about 27-ish minutes later, Bethany's calling you. What are you doing in between for that 27 minutes? Because she's awake at 3:51. So what are you doing in between the time that you've woken up and created this new contact at 3:51 a.m. until the time Bethany calls you at 4:19:07? What are you doing? What are you doing? Right? What are you doing? Because right after Bethany calls her, that's when she calls Anna, she calls Kaylee, she calls Bethany. They talk for 41 seconds. She calls Maddie, nothing. And then she texts Bethany and says, no one's answering at 4:22:08. Then at 4:22:11, she texts Bethany again. I'm really confused right now. Then she texts Kaylee at 4:22:42. So she waits 20 seconds after she texts Bethany. She texts Kaylee at 4:22:42. She texts Kaylee again at 4:22:43. What's going on? Interesting. Okay. Then Bethany texts her back at 4:23:25. Yeah, dude, what the fuck? Bethany texts her again. Xana was wearing all black. So obviously there's, something missing in here. Right? Xana was wearing all black. That's at 4:23:28. But in these text messages so far, this bubble here, Dylan hasn't said anything about someone in all black yet. Right? Where in Dylan hasn't said anything to Bethany yet about someone's in all black, unless it was on the phone call where they spoke for 41 seconds. Right? It's very, very interesting. Very, very interesting. Bethany, yeah, dude, what the fuck? 4:23:25. Bethany again. Xana was wearing all black. 4:23:28. Then Dylan, I'm freaking out right now. 4:23:33. Dylan again to Bethany. No, it's like a ski mask almost. 4:23:42. So let's just stop here for a second, right? That's why I titled it Dylan's Mask, right? And then I woke up, right? Here's the problem that I have with this is that from 3:51 a.m., I'll get to the gist of my point here. From 3:51 a.m. until 4:19 and some seconds a.m., Dylan is allegedly upstairs on her own in her room, right? Bethany is downstairs. At 4:19, something happens that makes Bethany call Dylan, right? Something happens that makes Bethany call Dylan, and that is not initially what we were told, right? Initially, we were told Dylan called Bethany, right? But now we're finding out it's actually Bethany calling Dylan. I suspect that's Bethany calling Dylan to say what the fuck is going on up there, right? I'm just giving benefit of the doubt here. I'm giving benefit of the doubt, okay? She's calling Dylan to say, hey, what the fuck is going on up there? Did you hear that? I heard a bang. I heard a boom. I saw a flash, whatever the case may be, right? They spoke for 41 seconds. Okay. So to me, it's like Bethany hears something, sees something, and calls Dylan. But Dylan has this period of time for like 20 something minutes where she's upstairs alone while everybody else is upstairs alone, allegedly sleeping in their room except for Xana, with the exception of Xana, right? And we have this period of time for, about approximately 28 minutes where she's awake, but she's trying to pretend she's not aware. She's trying to pretend she doesn't know what's going on, that she's just peeking outdoors. She sees a masked man in the home, blah, 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 right? It would appear, in my opinion, that Dylan's mask here is going to be forced to be ripped off. That's just my opinion, because it looks like to me they're throwing her under the bus. We haven't gotten documents from Hitler in months. And the first thing that we get is this defense exhibit. Okay. And we haven't gotten anything for months. And this is also happening after her donations have been paused on GoFundMe. This lawsuit for WSU has been filed. I personally think it's a huge backfire. I think this WSU lawsuit is going to backfire in everyone's face. But I just think it's very interesting that it would appear the only two people that are up and awake in this home for approximately 27 minutes of time is going to be Dylan and Xana. Okay. So now that we've gone over Roloff's, what he found, so we know that after this, so while this is happening, and after, Roloff has recovered video calls, phone calls, text messages, Snapchats, and internet-based cookies and shit like this for websites she accessed during this crime and after, immediately following, leading up until, fucking noon, whatever, when police were called, right? So that's very interesting. It's very interesting that what we actually find out here, in fact, Dylan's wide awake at 3:51 a.m., entering a new contact, and 27 minutes later, Bethany is apparently calling her to be like, what the fuck is going on up there? Thought I heard something. That's just my opinion. Just my opinion. So now what we're going to get into is let's go take a listen to the interview with Gooch. Okay, so as we all know, what I have here and linked in the description of the live stream is this person, Brittany Brown's channel. And the reason that I linked Brittany Brown's channel is because it is the full interview with Vicky Gooch. It's the audio only, okay, with Vicky Gooch. It's 2 hours long. And that's why I'm using this one, because there's no commentary, there's no interruptions, nothing like that. So I hope everybody is okay with that. You're only going to get audio, though. That's all that there is. Even her, all she has is the audio, not the video on her channel, which I'm fine with. I prefer audio. So, gracefully salty. So do we not think that Kaylee was up dancing with her dog? I mean, I don't know, honey. I have no idea. At this point, I'm only interested as to why it would appear like they're throwing Dylan directly under the bus and forcing her to rip her mask off, is what it looks like to me. It looks like she's being forced to rip the mask off. You know, that's just my opinion. That's just like what my gut tells me, with her donations being paused, and then we get this defense exhibit and it's only her text messages and stuff, not anybody else's, not Bethany's. We don't have the context for it. Like, I wish we would have had both Dylan and Bethany so we can look at them side by side, right? And see the actual conversation back and forth. What's happening back and forth. We don't have that, though. That's why I think they're throwing her under the bus. It's like she's been cut out from the coven or whatever. You know what I mean? Whatever's going on here, it's like she got the cut. She's the sacrificial lamb here. I don't know what's going on. I don't know what's going on, but it's almost like she's going to be forced. At some point, the mask is going to have to come off. You're going to have to tell the truth. As we'll hear throughout this interview, it would appear, in my opinion, Vicky Gooch doesn't believe her either. It would appear Vicky Gooch is also side-eyeing her quite heavily. So let's get into it.